Welcome to my short 6-minute yoga series video that is going to be going over pelvic floor relaxation and diaphragmatic breathing. So why we're going to go over diaphragmatic breathing is because you need to be able to have expansion within the rib cage and the abdominal walls and the pelvic floor to be able to actually see changes within the pelvic floor. Its mobility, meaning its ability to contract and its ability to relax. If you're not getting good solid breathing through the diaphragm and through the rib cage here, then it's going to be really hard to tap into the pelvic floor muscles and actually get those pelvic floor muscles to be mobile. So the ability to be able to contract and relax those muscles. So first things first, you don't need a yoga block or anything. I just have it for some modifications for some of these movements in case it might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people's hips. So what we're going to focus on first is diaphragmatic breathing. So when I talk about diaphragmatic breathing, your diaphragm is one of the components of your deep core. When you think about the deep core, you have the diaphragm, you have your transverse abdominis in the front, you have your spinal muscles in the back, and then you have your pelvic floor at the bottom of the pelvis. So your diaphragm is the top part of your deep core. So we need this diaphragm to be able to expand and contract when we're breathing to get mobility everywhere else. So with diaphragmatic breathing, I'm going to start by putting our hands on one side of the rib cage and then the other on the top of the belly. So when you're doing your breathing drills, you want to feel expansion here in the belly, so you get that 360 breathing, as well as expansion laterally into the rib cage, so you also get expansion this way. So when we breathe in, we want to focus on filling the belly with air, but not just that, we want to also fill our rib cage as well and the chest. So don't forget about the chest. The chest rises last. So the first thing that we're going to do is focus on inhaling here. Exhaling out. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. So you can see with just those 2 reps that I did that I'm getting expansion here and I'm getting expansion here. And that's what we want. We also want to feel expansion downward in the pelvic floor, so that way that pelvic floor is moving as well. So you should feel that pelvic floor drop when you inhale, and you should feel it come back up as you exhale. So now we're going to take those breathing techniques and we're going to employ them with these 3 stretches that I'm going to give you to focus on pelvic floor relaxation. So the first thing that we're going to do is be on all fours, all hands and knees. So I have a yoga block here for modifications in case we need to use it. For somebody who might have tighter hips, might not feel as comfortable on the back, we have something that we can at least modify it and make it less intense. So the first thing you're going to be here is on all 4 positions. So we want to start here first, bringing the knees out as far as we can, as far as what's comfortable, so you get a good stretch in the inner thighs. Bring the feet from an outside position to more of an inside position, so you get more external rotations of the hip. We're going to walk our hands out a little bit further in front of our face, and then we're going to sink our hips back towards our heels. Let that back round, let everything round down, and then you're going to relax your head on the mat here. And then we're going to take a big inhale and exhale. And then we're going to start our breathing. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. And if this position doesn't feel very comfortable, we can take that yoga block and we can put it between our legs here and between our feet and sit our bottom down on that yoga block. And that should feel a little bit more comfortable. Now we're going to inhale and exhale for 2 minutes. You should feel that pelvic floor dropping down towards the bottom of the pelvis when you inhale. Filling that belly with air. Exhale it up. Let that pelvic floor rise back up towards your head. Then we're going to come out of this position. We're going to rock out nice and slow. And And then we're gonna alternate. We're gonna flip on over to our backs here. And you're gonna lay flat on your mat. Again, this next one, we might not need the yoga block, but we have it just in case we need it for our hips. So what we're gonna do here next is gonna be Happy Baby. One of my absolute favorites, but it can be pretty intense and pinchy in the front of the hip. So we wanna make sure we have a modification for everybody just in case it is pinchy. So a true Happy Baby, we're gonna be laying flat on our back. We're gonna bring both of our knees in towards our chest, and we're gonna grab the heels of our feet. With Happy Baby, you then extend the knees, just like this, and you hold this position for 2 minutes. If this is super pinchy in the front side of the hips, then maybe we close down the knees and we grab under the knees and we hold in this position. Only go to the varying amount of hip flexion that you have and what's actually comfortable. And you're just gonna hold this pose for 2 minutes. There's a few modifications here where you can also grab one heel or grab one knee, and you can do a mobilization here so you can get more of that hamstring inner thigh stretch. You can grab your one foot and same thing, back and forth. Or just do a half Happy Baby. You might wanna bring one knee up so it supports the pelvis here, and then switch to the other side, making sure we're getting big inhales, exhales, the whole practice for your 2 minutes. I'm gonna do both sides here. And then we're gonna come out of this position. This next one, we like to use the yoga block if it's too intense. So this next one is a butterfly pose. So we're gonna take both knees together and then we're gonna split them out to the sides, pressing the heels and bottoms of our feet together as we lay flat on our mat. This one I like to accentuate the breathing because I'm able to not be closed down into hip flexion, so I can really emphasize the breathing and feeling my pelvic floor in this position the most. So I like to use my hand on my rib cage and then obviously my other hand on my belly. And I like to get big inhales and exhales here for 2 minutes. If this is pretty intense on the stretching of the hip, this is where the yoga block can come into play, where we can put one side of the yoga block underneath or some pillows and let those hips kind of rise back up. Same thing for this side. If you have two, even better. So you can vary this degree of how intense it is on how much hip external rotation you put your hips into. And then we're going to continue breathing. If you start to feel lightheaded from all of this breathing, know that that's normal. You're getting way more oxygen into the brain, into the body, so that might give you a little bit more lightheadedness feeling. But if you start to feel lightheaded, just back off the depth of how much you breathe and how much you are breathing, inhale and exhale, and just do a little bit more shallow. Something like this. If you start to feel some buzzing with your lightheadedness, know that that's also normal, and it's just from the increase in oxygenation throughout the body. It will go away, but if it's too intense and you don't like it, that's okay, just decrease that depth. 2 minutes. And that completes our series. Thank you for hanging out today, doing my 6-minute yoga routine, covering all of the things about relaxation of the pelvic floor and getting those pelvic floor muscles to actually be able to move. So when you're doing these stretches and working on relaxation, you're actually making a difference in those muscles. I hope this helps. I recommend doing this routine almost every single day if you are struggling with pelvic floor related tension. Every other day, or even after your heavy leg days, after your workouts, I would definitely add it in as much as possible to really work on those relaxing those muscles, especially if you're a heavy lifter, especially if you work a desk job, especially if you hold tension in your glutes. More of this will definitely help down-regulate those muscles and get you feeling better faster. Hope this helps. Don't forget to subscribe for more and follow me on Instagram for more.